Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the surging stitches on the Singer Heavy Duty 4423 sewing machine. If you refer to your manual on page 24, there is a stitch chart. I'm going to refer to these stitches in this stitch chart alphabetically, stitch B, stitch C, stitch D, example. Because on here it might be a little too far for you to be able to see what stitches I'm referring to on this dial. So if you'll turn to page 24 in your manual, you'll see this stitch chart. The upper row of stitches refers to the black stitches on this dial. The lower row that says S1, that's when you turn your stitch length dial to the blue S1. That then activates the blue stitches. So whenever you put it on S1 here, on your stitch length, that turns on the blue colored stitches. So in this area, the black area, 0 through 4, you're going to be on the black colored stitches, and of course you can adjust the length wherever you want. Whenever you turn this dial to S1, that turns on the blue stitches, and the stitch length on those particular stitches is fixed and can't be adjusted. So just reference this stitch chart on your manual, because I'll be referring to the stitch letters here either in row 1 or row 2 here. Basically, the regular surging stitch, we're going to take our length. First, let's choose the stitch. Stitch E on the top row of stitches in your manual here. Stitch E is a surging stitch. We're going to turn it to stitch E, which is here. And then I'm going to put my length. You can adjust your length wherever you want, but I kind of like it to be kind of close together, so I'm going to put it at about 1.5. The stitch width, of course, you can adjust that to your liking, but for this purpose, I'm going to put the stitch width at 6, which is the widest. Now, we're going to pretend that this here is our raw edge of material. You're going to want to put your raw edge of material facing this way to the left, then place your material halfway, maybe about 3/4 of the way underneath the foot, because you want, whenever it makes this left arc, and you'll see what I'm talking about when you start sewing, when it makes this left arc, you want it to go over the edge of the material, so basically over edging stitch, which is basically what surging is. So I'm going to, you want it to sew in that empty area and go over that edge when it makes that that arc over to the left. And as you see here, we've encased that raw edge, and it prevents the raveling. And it also, if we turn this inside out here, it gives us a nice tight seam. That's the regular surging stitch. But there's actually another type of surging stitch on this machine, and that is the stretch surging stitch. Actually, there's a couple different kind of stretch surging stitches. So we're gonna turn this length dial to S1, and that's going to turn on the blue stitches, which are going to be our stretch stitches. We're now in the second row on the stitch chart here. So first, I'm going to do stitch D, which is one over here. So it's stitch D, which is right here. That's one of the surging stitches. And I've got some stretchy material here. And again, for this particular surging stitch, we're still going to have our raw edge of material facing to the left. And we're going to basically do the same thing. About 3/4 way underneath the presser foot here, and you want to watch it and make sure it's, arcing over to the left the way you want it to, and it's going over the edge of the material. And of course, you can adjust the width wherever you want if you want it narrower or something like that. And here we've encased that raw edge. Totally prevents it from raveling. It's also stretchy. See, the stitch doesn't pop out. And it has given us a nice, tight, stretchy seam. That's another surging stitch. Now, for the final surging stitch, we're going to go to stitch K, we're still in the S1 section, which is the bottom row. Stitch K, which is this one here. It's right to the left of the buttonhole. And the only difference with this stitch is it's going to, your raw edging material is going to go to the right on this particular stitch. So this particular stitch might be good if you have a really large garment that you might have difficulty fitting up in this area and you need it to go over to the left of the machine. This stitch might be useful for that. And so again, still replacing the material 3/4 way underneath the presser foot, leaving a little open area to the right, which is where our raw edge is. Again, you can control the width wherever you want it to. For this purpose, I'm going to have it on 6. And we'll go ahead and do the serging. Again, it's arcing over to the right, and we just want it to go over the edge of the material. And you'll see when this is sewing, it's doing 2 stitches forward, 1 stitch back. That's normal. It's going over the stitch basically 3 times, and what that does is gives the stitch elasticity, so it'll stretch. And again, we have a totally encased seam here. Prevents it from raveling. It's nice and stretchy, doesn't pop out, and it's given us that nice tight seam. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at support@sewinginusa.com.